Okay, so question 9, getting there. We're about halfway now-ish. Question 15, 17, yep, about halfway there. So hopefully you're thinking this is going quite well. We've had some sector, area of a triangle. We've had our cosine rule. We also had the sine rule up here. A little bit of standard deviation. A tiny bit of factorising. Some scientific notation and percentages. Now, if you look at this, so far we have used this, this, and this, and this. So actually, as you go through, you could tick these off, and actually, these are probably more likely to be used in the calculator paper. We certainly can't be doing, well, we can, but it's not very common to be using these in the non-calculator paper. They'd have to give you more information. Okay, so tick them off as you go. We will probably use, most of these. Yeah, so just remember that's there. It's a big help to you. Okay. Right, let's crack on. So question 9. Find the gradient of the line. Well, the number in front of x, that has to be the gradient of the line, doesn't it? Well, almost. You have to make sure it's in the form y equals mx plus c. So right now it is not in that form. Okay. So I need to make y the subject effectively. So to move these over, all I have to do is add 8 to both sides and take away 3x from both sides. So 4y is going to be negative 3x plus 8. So to move something over, you do the opposite, and this is just, I'm adding 3x to this side, I'm taking away 8. Yeah? And the very last thing I'm going to do is divide by 4. So I could write it like this. This would not be wrong, but it's not wildly helpful. The other way of writing that is to divide both terms by 4, which makes obviously this one over here a 2. Okay? So that's my y-intercept. So I have to draw that out. I know my line is crossing at 2, and the gradient is negative 3/4. So negative's going down this way. Yeah, it's doing something like that. Okay, so the gradient would be m is equal to negative 3/4. So you're getting a mark for starting to rearrange, and then a mark for your final answer. So 1 mark for this, 1 mark for this. State the coordinates where it crosses the y-axis. Well, there we go, I've already done that. So that's the y-intercept, isn't it? So it crosses there at 0, 2. That is your y-intercept on the end there. Done. If I wanted to know where you cross the x-axis, you would put y equals to 0, yeah, and just see what you get. Yeah, so 3x take away 8 is 0. This is obviously where x is equal to 0, which is just that number there. Change the subject. Okay, change the subject. So we're doing our bod mass in reverse, and to undo something, you do the opposite. Okay. So to h. Okay, have I got any adds and subtracts? No. Now the first thing, well, have I got any adds and subtracts? No. Have I got multiply and divide? Yes. However, I do not move them first. This is a case where you have to remember the 3h over 2 is in a bracket. Now, because it's in a bracket, I have to do my order first. The order is this, because I can rewrite that as 3h over 2 to the half. Okay, there's like a little 2 in there we don't write. That becomes a half. Okay, so you're doing your order, then you're able to get into the bracket. I think when you get something like this, it's a bit like you're getting into the present, you've got to get the wrapping paper off. The other time this happens is when you've got something like 3x plus 2 over 5. A lot of people think, right, bod mass in reverse, move this, then move these. No, this is in a bracket. So because that's in a bracket, I have to do the divide first. So watch out for that when you do these questions. Bod mass in reverse, but is there a secret bracket we've not kind of written? Why have we not written it? Because we're lazy mathematicians. So I'll do your square root by squaring both sides. So that's 3h over 2. And then it doesn't matter which order you do these in, you could do the divides and multiply at the same time. In the same way you can do the adds and subtracts at the same time. So I'm going to call that 2d squared divided by 3 is equal to h. And then just finish it, make sure that your h is on the left-hand side. So for that one, yeah, you're getting a mark for doing your square, a mark for doing your multiply, a mark for doing your divide. So each one you do correctly, you will get a mark. So don't worry if you get them in slightly wrong order. If you will get follow-through marks, what if 2 of them are around the wrong way, I think you'll still get 2 marks. So take your time, you're going to mark for everything you can do correctly there. All right. Next one, volume of a cone. So again, equations that we've not used yet. We have not used the volume of a cone, so I'm going to tick that one off. 3rd pi r squared h. And don't forget, like I said, that in there is your cylinder. Pi r squared h is a cylinder. A third of it is the cone. So if this was like made of ice, for example, and I put it in a cylinder with the same radius, this cone would melt to fill up 1/3 of the volume of that cylinder. Pretty cool, or maybe not. But just so that's where that equation comes from. Okay, so interesting. That cone is 1/3 of the cylinder. So the first thing I would do is identify that, yep, it's a volume, and I'm given the equation, so I'll be writing down my equation, say, right, the volume. You get a wee cough button, don't I? Get with the technology. I'd write my equation down, and I would start to try and fill it out. So try to find the volume, okay, and I've got a third times pi, yep, that's fine, I can do it on my calculator. The radius, there's my radius, isn't that excellent? 4 squared, and my height, oh, wait a minute. That's the height. That's not the height, is it? If someone said we're going up a mountain, what's the height of it? You'd be saying, well, the height of this mountain is this. The height isn't that. That's interesting. So how am I going to possibly find that? And again, this is why 5 marks, you're thinking there's an extra little bit I need to do. Well, 90 degrees, that's Pythagoras, isn't it? So to get this height, I'm going to say that's 14.5 squared. Take away 4 squared. So that's going to give me, sorry, not height, height squared is equal to that, sorry. Many apologies. So the height is going to come out as, rub that out, I'm going to be messy here. 13.937. Okay, and then from that, I'll plug that into my volume equation. 13.937. And that's going to come out as 233.522. It's doing this jumpy thing again. Why does it do this to me? It's really annoying. And the very last bit, 2 significant figures. So your 2 significant figures, there's 1, there's 2. And I would just draw a little dotted line to remind you where you're going to cut your number off. So find your place, look next door. I don't have to round up, but this needs to become a 0 in order that I have place value. And just watch your units as well. So 5 wonderful marks. You're getting 2 for Pythagoras, you're getting 2 for your volume, and 1 for your rounding at the end as well. So really, really good question actually. And all you had to do was, to get full marks was spot this. If you didn't spot that, there was still 3 good marks to be had, wasn't there? 3 out of 5 is not bad. 60%. If you put that in, just so don't forget your rounding. That's throwing a mark away. And you've got your calculator. Substitute it with a calculator. Not a tough job. Okay. So again, if you're thinking you're worried about your mark and you're worried you're going to pass or you want to do well, I think either whether end of the spectrum you're on, I'm struggling to pass or I want an A. The calculator paper has lots of kind of low-hanging fruit, as you would call it, lots of easy chances to get nice marks. Some of the non-calculator work, playing with fractions and putting fractions into here and maybe multiplying decimals, maybe that's not your bag, But in this formula, put in your calculator, remember to round. Okay, so lots of good chances to do well. Pardon me. I think I'll start on the next question in the next video.